Hello viewers and welcome to another episode of Excel Learning. In today's capsule, I'm going to talk about a topic on which a friend of mine asked me the solution. So the problem he was facing is he often gets multiple data sources which are in the form of pivot tables, and he has to update few rows in his base table from that pivot. Now the moment the pivot table changes, his data goes for a toss because they are linked through the VLOOKUP, and he wants to do a pay special of them, but Excel does not allow a filtered range to be pasted special as values only because it contains multiple ranges together, which Excel inherently doesn't allow. That sounds like a problem to be solved, and I'm sure a lot of people who work with data in and out, FP&A professionals or data analysts would be facing such similar concern. So I thought to make a video around it. So without any ado, let's head over to the data and see what exactly I'm talking about and the solution there too. So let's imagine you have a table like this which contains the units which are sold for a particular region, sales representative and item combination. So based on each combination you have the units sold. Now this information is historic, and new data will either keep adding on or there might be a replacement request for few line items. So for example, in this particular case, I have the data for central, the sales rep's name is Jardine, and for all the items that he has sold, these data points were updated, let's say mid month, and now I want to update after 21 days have passed in the month. So what is the alternative or what is the way out for that? Typically in such kind of assignments you receive this kind of a pivot table and you update the data from here. So one of the approaches is you filter the pivot table, you copy the data and paste it, but that is not suggested because these are not continuous ranges. So if you see here, you will find that you have row number 5 here, then you have row number 28, then you have row number 42, which clearly shows that these are not continuous. Hence, because of not being continuous, it's not advisable to directly copy paste. Plus, here we are showing only 3 line items. In real life, you would have much more line items than this. So what is the solution? The simple desi solution is people using a VLOOKUP. So we simply do a VLOOKUP with the item code or the item name. We head over to the pivot, select 2 comma false and bracket close, and the moment we do that we get this value. Now it is showing as an error because I have not frozen the data range. Let me do that. So the moment I do the freezing of the data range, now it fetches the value accurately. But what happens if someone just goes over and changes the filter in the pivot table? Boom, your data goes for a toss because it was linked data, it is live data, and the moment you have already linked it and somebody changes your pivot, your data goes for a toss, and your entire analytics, for example if you have a chart here or further analytics, that goes for a toss, and suddenly you are shocked that what happened. I got the data accurate, my analysis was accurate, but then everything went for a toss. So what is the way out? The way out is we are going to use a small macro, and trust me, it is a very small macro. You can see on the screen. I will also put it in the comment section as well as the description. You just need to copy the code, simply copy the code, press alt plus F11. So let me just write it down. Press alt plus F11. This will activate the macro screen. Go over here, click on insert and click on module and paste your code. That's it. Now you just need to close it. You don't need to analyze what has happened, etc. Now, what is the next step? So you can see the formula is already written here. You can see the VLOOKUP already written here. I will simply select these ranges and then I will press alt plus semicolon. This basically selects only the active range or the visible range, and then I will simply go over to the view tab. Inside view tab I will click on macros, and you will already see this macro available because we have written the code inside the macro screen, and you will click on run. That's it. Now you see your values have been converted to pay special values. There are no more VLOOKUPs here, and If I now change the pivot table, it has got no impact whatsoever. One point worth mentioning here is you might be wondering why this problem is required. Somebody can just remove the entire filters and then copy and paste the entire range which Excel allows. The problem with that approach is you have filtered this range because you want to use this specific information for any further analysis. And the moment you remove these filters, you have to again filter on those specific line items and remember and do it once again, which might be a tedious task because earlier when you had filtered, you had simply filtered on the blank rows because those rows were blank. But now you have to again redo the exercise, and that too with rows contained with the data. Hence, this smart approach of VBA macro works really well. Let me know in the comment section what you think about it. Stay tuned for more. Thank you so much for watching.